I'm going to take the NBA playoffs format and see who wins with college football teams. To decide which 20 colleges will be competing for a championship, I'm going to sim one season in NCAA football, and teams will be in the East or the West based on this line. Our top 3 colleges are all going to come from the East, and as expected, they're dominating the polls. Florida State ended up missing out as the 11th best team in the East, and these 20 teams are the ones that actually made it. Here's a look at what the main brackets will look like, but before we start the best of 7 series out East and out West, we have to figure out the 7 and 8 seeds based on the new NBA format. It's a little confusing, but the winner of the 7 and 8 game will become the 7 seed, and the loser of that one will play the winner of the 9 and 10 game to play for the 8 seed. It'll make a lot more sense when we do it live, and over in the East, this is what the playing games will look like, while in the West, they're going to feature these 4 schools. Our first matchup is Michigan State versus Pitt, and this is for the 7 seed in the East, which will get a best of 7 series against number 2 seed Miami. In the end, the Spartans ended up holding on, so Pitt will play the winner of North Carolina and Tulane, who are both on the brink of elimination. It seems like the Tar Heels are going to take care of business against the Green Wave, and now these 2 teams will fight for the 8 seed in the East. Pitt gets the home field advantage because they're the higher seed, but it's not going to matter because the Tar Heels are going to double their score, and that means when the actual playoffs start, this is what the East region is going to look like, but we also have to watch the West playing games before that can happen. Oregon State is the higher seed going into this game, but with about 45 seconds left, they're trailing the Utes by 6 points, and they need a touchdown to win, so that laser is going to be huge, and let's see what they can do here on second down. Another dart, which is going to get them inside the red zone. This drive has looked very promising so far, and they're going for it all, but it's going to be intercepted, so Utah steals the 7 seed out West, and the Beavers will play the winner of Oregon and BYU. The Ducks defense has done a fantastic job today, and with about 45 seconds left, they're going to get another stop, which is going to get them the win, putting them against their rivals for the last playoff spot. Either team could come out on top of this one, but I was expecting it to end up being a lot closer as Oregon State just couldn't compete. The Ducks would end up winning by 21, and I think that makes the bracket out West very interesting. We are going to go through the quarterfinals out East first though, and 1-seeded Alabama will be hosting North Carolina for the first 2 games. Despite the Tar Heels' late rally, they took care of business in the first one, but in the second matchup, Drake May made sure his team didn't fall behind 2-0, which tied up the series 1-1. Now North Carolina has the home field advantage for 2 games, but they played terribly in game 3, so they really need to win game 4, but with less than 2 minutes remaining, they are stuck on a 4th and 13. They have to pick this up, and they don't. So the Crimson Tide are going to win again, putting the Tar Heels down 3-1, and they showed some resistance by winning game 5, but with about 20 seconds left in game 6, they were trailing by 2 possessions, and that touchdown does get them within 1, but they have to recover this onside kick to even have a chance, and they're going to. I was not expecting them to even have an opportunity to potentially win. I thought it was over. They're getting 9 yards here, and that should set up one final Hail Mary. I have to give them credit for an 8 seed. They've come into the series against Alabama and fought very well. Drake May throws up the final ball of the game, but it's going to be too long. So Alabama wins the first series in the East 4-2. Now I am going to switch it up, so our next series will be out West, and it'll be between these 2 Pac-12 rivals, where the 8-seeded Ducks are going to surprisingly pull off the upset in game 1. In the next one, it looks like the Huskies are going to bounce back, and I don't know who chose these jersey combinations, but they're terrible. Anyways, now the series is tied 1-1, and Oregon gets to host the next 2 games. With 26 seconds left, they are trailing by 6, but all they need is a touchdown to win, and since they're only 26 yards away from the end zone, I thought they had a decent chance of pulling it off, but a run there with no timeouts made no sense. Bo Nix is slinging it, and it is going to be intercepted. That's going to give the Huskies game number 3, so I thought the Ducks would win the next one, but they fell just short again. That means they're also trailing 3-1, and Washington could seal it in game 5 at home, but instead they lost by 10, and then they let Oregon take game 6 as well, so it's all going to come down to a game 7, where Washington's on the verge of blowing a 3-1 lead. With a little more than a minute remaining, Bo Nix has the ball in his hands. His team is only trailing by 6, so they can win with a touchdown, and they just have to go 69 yards down the field, having a nice drive, but it might not happen. He lost the ball there, which makes it 4th and 11, so they need to pick this up, and once again, he's going to get sacked, making it so the Huskies move on to the semifinals. Next up, we're going to see which SEC team comes out on top, and the winner of this one will play Alabama in the East semifinals. I am surprised that Tennessee stole game 1, and they have a chance to go back to their place up 2-0, but they need to pick up this first down Hendon Hooker slings it, and it's going to be knocked down, so Georgia takes game 2. The Bulldogs also took the next one by 4, along with also winning again after that, which gives them a 3-1 lead and a chance to finish it off in game 5 at home. I thought Tennessee stood a decent chance after they won the first one, but they're going to lose 4 straight, and this pick 6 is the icing on the cake, as that's going to fully eliminate them. The Bulldogs will take on the Crimson Tide next, but trust me, there are plenty of good matchups before that, because now we're getting 4-seeded TCU versus 5-seeded Texas. The Longhorns simply weren't able to stop Max Duggan in game number 1, but unless TCU scores in under 30 seconds, they're going to bounce back in the next one, and that interception is going to seal it. Texas has 2 home games coming up with the series tied 1-1, but they're going to drop game 3 to the Horned Frogs, so they need to make sure that they win this one, and it looks like they're in a position to do so, as all they need is a field goal so it doesn't go to overtime. And I'm not sure what their kicker's range is, but I'm sure if they pick up a first down here, they will be in range, and that is definitely going to seal it. The series is going to be tied up 2-2, and that makes this game 5 extremely important. It does look like the Longhorns are going to take this one, but they have to get this onside kick recovery to win the pivotal matchup, and that ball sailed out of bounds. Texas goes up 3-2, and they could end the series right now, but instead it looks like it's going back to TCU for a game 7 because they run it on 4th down, and that's going to give the Horned Frogs the win. Both series out west have been incredibly entertaining, and the Horned Frogs are on the brink of elimination. It is 4th and 14. Max Duggan slings it. He finds his receiver, but they're still trailing by 2 possessions with less than a minute remaining, so I don't think they're going to be able to come back, and that interception's going to confirm it. I guess Texas is actually back, and now we should be getting a Big Ten thriller. All the conference rivals seem to be matched up in the first round, and unless Sean Clifford pulls off an insane miracle, the Buckeyes should take game 1. However, it's technically not over yet. The Buckeyes will get the onside kick though, so that'll confirm it. And here on 4th and 1, Ohio State's defense is going to come up with a huge stop, allowing them to narrowly escape with a 2-0 lead. Penn State cannot afford to drop this next matchup, but with less than a minute left, the Buckeyes are going to get in here, and if they get the 2-point conversion, that'll put them up 3, which they do. Sean Clifford has to get his team into field goal range to send this one to overtime, but he's going to throw an interception instead, and I don't think the Nittany Lions can come back from this one. If they can't score a touchdown on this drive, they're going to be the first team to get sweeped in this, and it's not looking good for them as it's 4th down here, and Sean Clifford can't get the ball out, so the Buckeyes take the series 4-0, and hopefully UCLA and Oklahoma is a little bit closer. This series is going to start at the Rose Bowl, and the Bruins made sure to not waste their home field advantage. They completely embarrassed Oklahoma in game number 2, so the Sooners are going back to their place trailing 2-0, and their defense is going to need to come up big in the final seconds if they want to send this game into overtime. All UCLA needs to get is a field goal, which is probably only about 10 yards away, and that pass got them a little closer while this one gets them inside the 40, but hang on, there's movement before the kick, and UCLA might have just blown it. Now this game is going to go to overtime, but since Oklahoma took their 3, UCLA could still win it here. That pass is going to get them the first down, and the Sooners had so many chances today, but they're still going to lose. It's almost impossible to come back down 3-0, and UCLA's looking to end it all on this 4th and 4. There is an open wide receiver though, but he's going to drop it, so Oklahoma gets swept just like Penn State did, and now it's time for the final quarterfinal matchup in the East. Miami will be taking on Michigan State, and the Spartans are going to steal game 1 from the Hurricanes. They're the 7 seed in this series, but they are sure not playing like it, and if they can get a goal line stop here, they're going to go up 2-0 in the series. On 4th and goal, Tyler Van Dyke has to get his team into the end zone, and he delivers a dot, but Peyton Thorne ripped apart their defense and took his Spartans down the field, so the Spartans' left-footed kicker is going to try to go for the win, and it's going to be good. Michigan State actually goes up 2-0, and all the momentum is going their way with them hosting the next 2 games. Miami cannot afford to fall behind 3-0, but I think it's going to happen because they just gave up a very costly touchdown, and unless they can somehow score on this play, it's over. And technically they do still have a chance since there was 1 second left after that sack, but the ball is up, it's knocked down, and the Hurricanes still haven't won a game. For the 3rd series in a row, we might be getting another sweep, but Miami just got some life because that is a huge play. The Hurricanes have taken a 4-point lead with a minute and a half remaining, so now they need to get a stop, and Peyton Thorne wants to end it right now because he is carving apart this defense. It is not looking good for Hurricane fans, and they left someone wide open in the end zone, so once again, they're probably about to lose another close game, except Tyler Van Dyke's not done. He is doing everything in his power to keep his team alive, including using his legs right here. He's going to make it so his team can send the game into overtime, and after picking off off Peyton Thorne, this field goal is going to win it for Miami, so Tyler Van Dyke saved his team for now. I don't see them coming back from being down 3-0, but who knows what could happen, because assuming they get a stop on 4th and 16 here, it's going to be 3-2. Miami still needs to win the final 2 matchups, and that clearly would have been too much to ask for. Michigan State takes game 6, and these are going to be the final 4 teams left in the East. Out west, the final quarterfinal matchup should be a treat, because Utah always seems to give USC a hard time, and even in a video game that remains true as the Utes take game 1. With less than 30 seconds left in the second one, Caleb Williams is going to sling it to the end zone for the lead, and what a clutch throw that ended up being, as the Trojans are going to win. The series is tied at 1-1 going to Utah, and with 34 seconds left in the next one, it looks like the Trojans are going to lose, because as much as Caleb Williams is trying to get his team down the field into the end zone, he is going to lose the ball here, which is going to kill the clock, and it looks like Utah is going to use their home field advantage to get the win. Here in the 4th game, USC needs to force Cam Rising into a mistake here to get a stop, but he's going to deliver a beautiful pass, so USC is going to be in a lot of trouble. They're on like the 2-yard line, he throws it away, but all it takes is a touchdown for Utah to win this one, and unless Caleb Williams can get his team in field goal range in less than 12 seconds, this one's over. That run to the 40 wasn't terrible, but he has to keep moving them, and he did get them in range for a Hail Mary. We're going to see if he can throw it that far. The ball is up, and it is going to be knocked down. USC falls behind 3-1, and their kryptonite Utah could eliminate them here. Well, USC is going to live to see another day, as they're not only going to survive game 5, but they're going to end it with a pick 6. That ending was exactly what they needed, and if Caleb Williams can score here, we're going to get a game 7. However, it is 4th down, and they're going to go with the halfback screen to try to pick it up, and they are not going to get it. The Utes are going to take the series in 6, and now we get to start all of our semifinal matchups. Georgia and Alabama is definitely the biggest one, and the Crimson Tide are going to win the first matchup by multiple possessions. If they don't pick up this 4th and 13 though, they're probably going to lose game 2, and I cannot believe Bryce Young checked down there, because it's going to cost them. The series is now tied up at 1 game each, and Georgia could really take control with these 2 home games. As time winds down in this defensive battle, I think the Bulldogs are going to win, because this field goal is going to give them a 1-point lead. The 4 seed's now up by 1 game, but Alabama's going to take the next one, tying it up at 2. Game 5 is a pivotal matchup for the series, and all Bryce Young has to do is get his team in field goal range if he wants to get his team the win here, which shouldn't have been too hard, but he is not snapping the ball, and he just wound the clock all the way down, under 10 seconds left. Now he's going to take off. Will he get his team in field goal range? He's short, so they're going to have to go for the Hail Mary, and he's not even able to get the ball out. Georgia can now advance to the Eastern Conference Finals with 1 win, and they're going to have home field advantage on their side, but with 35 seconds left, they are trailing the Crimson Tide by 3, so they need to move the ball down the field, and that's going to be intercepted, so Stetson Bennett is going to have to go into a game 7, and with 54 seconds left in that one, Bryce Young has the ball, trailing by 5, he's going to throw it, and it's going to be picked off. 4-seeded Georgia's going to knock out the 1-seed Crimson Tide, and what a series that one just was. I don't see how this next one could top that, but who knows, maybe it will. And the Huskies are easily going to beat the Longhorns in the first matchup. The second game ended up being a much closer one, but Texas needs to get in field goal range if they're going to send this game into overtime, and they're not going to be able to do so. They've already fallen behind 2-0, so this becomes a must-win matchup, and with 55 seconds, it's not looking too good for them, because their receiver's going to drop the ball, it is going to be intercepted, and they're going to fall behind 3-0. Texas is on the verge of getting swept in game 4, and Quinn Ewers turns it over again. Washington's going to waste their opportunity to win by not hiking the ball, so in the end, Texas is going to get very lucky to pick up a win here. Michael Penix just gave them a gift by winding down as much of the clock as he could, but that's a laser, so they're going to have a chance at a Hail Mary, and let's see how far he gets the ball. It's up, and he finds a receiver. He's short though, which means the Longhorns finally get a win. The Huskies are probably going to lose the next one as well, which would give Texas a chance, but they have to recover this onside kick to confirm it, and they're not going to do so. They literally just fumbled away an easy win. Now their defense needs to step up, and they're not going to. Washington is in field goal range, so they can send this game to overtime unless they take a sack, and that play is huge as they're not going to be able to get a snap off. I don't know how we've gotten here, but Texas is only behind 3-2 now, and they get to host game 6. I thought they'd come out and win for sure, but their defense couldn't stop the Huskies today, so 1-seeded Washington is going to survive, and they've just advanced to the Western Conference Championship. Back over in the East, we have 2 Big Ten teams facing each other, and I have a feeling Ohio State is going to make quick work of the Spartans. They're going to win both of their first 2 home games, which gives them an early 2-0 lead, but now they have to play at Spartan Stadium, and that allowed Michigan State to bounce back, getting a huge win. Surprisingly, they're actually going to replicate that success in game 4 as well, as this play is going to seal it, and all of a sudden we have a competitive series on our hands. Everybody knows how important this next one is going to be, and since he's already thrown 3 interceptions today, I wouldn't be surprised if he threw a 4th. With no timeouts left, we know how this one's pretty much going to end as he's tackled in bounds, so the clock is running. It is 4th and 3. Peyton Thorne slings it, and this is a deep ball that is going to be caught. Keon Coleman just pulled off a crazy catch, so all of a sudden, Michigan State is not that far away from the end zone, but he's going to be tackled in bounds, and that is going to be it for the Spartans. They have to take the next 2 to win the series, and if they don't pick up this 4th and 8, they're not even going to make it to game 7. Peyton Thorne does throw a dot though, so they do still have a sliver of hope. They need to get 8 points on this drive, and on the brink of elimination, you have got to get the ball out right there, because now it is 4th and 19, and there's nothing Peyton Thorne can do, which means Ohio State is advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals against Georgia. Our last semifinal is going to be between UCLA and Utah, and the Bruins put up an impressive 44 points in a Game 1 win. However, it looks like they're going to lose the next one, as with 29 seconds left, they're trailing by 4 points, and I just don't think they're going to be able to go from midfield all the way to the end zone, especially with run plays. I'll never understand why teams call halfback draw when time is of the essence, but they end up doing it anyway, and UCLA does have one chance to throw it up to the end zone. DTR isn't going to get it off though, so Utah ties up the series at 1, and if they're able to pick up a few more yards here, they should have a chance at the win, but apparently they don't trust their kicker from this range, so Cam Rising is out there, he throws it underneath, and UCLA gets the stop. The Bruins did end up stealing game 3, but I don't think they're going to get the next one as well at Utah, because with 2 seconds left, they're trailing by 4, and DTR is going to get the Hail Mary off, but it's going to be knocked down. So I guess we're going to get another pivotal game 5. Well, Utah clearly came to play, as they're going to win this one by 26, and that makes this an elimination game. With less than a minute and a half left, this is going to have a crazy finish, because UCLA does have a chance, but DTR needs to get his team down the field into the end zone, and throws like that are how you do it. They're already past the 40, and they do have one timeout, which is extremely helpful, because if they make any mistakes like taking a sack, they could use it, but they shouldn't have thrown a check down there, and now the offensive lineman move, which is going to cause them to lose 5 yards as well. It did stop the clock, but I'm not sure if that's going to be worth it for them in the end. They do throw the halfback angle route, and it's going to be a first. So UCLA now has 30 seconds to go 30 yards to get into the end zone to make sure that they can send it to a game 7, and that's another beautiful check down. DTR is very lucky that Utah is not guarding the flats. They're going to pick up another 12, and now with 10 seconds left, he is going to take off, but he's going to lose the ball. His lineman recovers it, so they're going to burn their final timeout. It all comes down to this one last play. He finds the halfback, and he's tackled. Zach Charbonnet is short. Utah wins, and a 7 seed just made the Western Conference Finals. The next 2 series will be for spots in the championship, and Ohio State's the higher seed between them and Georgia, so they get to host the first 2 games, but if they can't get a stop here, they could end up being in trouble. Stetson Bennett is slinging it deep, and it's caught. No, it's intercepted. The Buckeyes are going to take game 1, but game 2 is going to go to the Bulldogs, tying it all up at 1-1. Now the Bulldogs host the next 2, and with 5 seconds left, Georgia needs a touchdown to win the game, but Stetson Bennett's going to get sacked, so the Buckeyes are going to go up 2-1. In game 4, once again, their defense is on the line. They need to get a stop on Stetson Bennett and the Bulldog offense. That's a beautiful halfback screen, though, to make it 4th and 2. So will Georgia be able to pick this up and maybe get into the end zone to take the lead? They're going to get the first, and now they're just a few yards out. Stetson Bennett fakes it, but he's going to get held up. So now it's 3rd and goal, about 20 seconds remaining. He's going to try to take off. He's going to get brought down, and this Buckeye defense is one stop away from getting another goal line stop, which they're going to do. Ohio State stole both of those games on the road in the final seconds, and they're 1 win away from making the college football finals. Well, CJ Stroud has done it, and I can't believe how little of a fight the Bulldogs put up in game 5. Stetson Bennett did not have a very good game, and the Buckeyes have advanced to the finals, where they'll be taking on the winner of this matchup. Washington is the highest seeded team remaining, but if they can't get in field goal range in 28 seconds, they're going to be on the verge of losing game 1 at home. With no timeouts remaining, I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it, but all they need is 25 yards, so it isn't out of the realm of possibility, and what a throw. Michael Penix Jr. most likely just sent that game into overtime, assuming they're in the kicker's range, but he wants to win, and he's going to instead, fortunately, have that ball dropped. Washington's head coach was not having any more of that. He made sure he sent out the kicker, but the kick is going to go wide, and it did look good from our angle, but it honestly wasn't even close. The Utes are clearly on a mission, as they're going to steal both games on the road from the Huskies, and this one was honestly never much of a contest. I can't believe the 7 seed came away with 2 wins there, but they're on a tear, and apparently it's not going to stop anytime soon, as they have an 8-point lead with about 20 seconds left. So technically Washington can win this, but they're most likely going to fall behind 3-0, and it is very clear that the Utes want a spot in the college football finals way more than the Huskies do. They've taken a lead that they probably can't blow, and they're also hosting Game 4, so I guess it really shouldn't be a surprise that they ended up sweeping one-seeded Washington, and they've officially made it out of the West. The CFB finals are officially set, and as the higher seed, Ohio State gets to host the first 2 games. With about 2 minutes remaining, Utah could take a 2-possession lead here if they can get into the end zone, but it's going to be intercepted, and Ohio State could end up taking this back. He ended up getting just clipped, but the Buckeyes have moved the ball all the way down the field, and if they get into the end zone, they're going to take a 3-point lead, which they're going to do. All the Utes had to do was just kick a field goal on that drive, and they'd at least be tied, but Cam Rising threw a very costly pick. They're running the ball, and they just wasted a timeout and lost 3 yards for no reason at all. I will never get that play called. This ball is a deep one. It's going to be intercepted. Cam Rising cannot get his team the win in game 1, and Buckeye fans have to be thrilled with that first result. Revenge was clearly on Utah's mind as they're going up 16 with a minute and a half left in the following matchup, and CJ Stroud is trying his hardest to save game 2 for the Buckeyes, but it's too late. They're going to need more than a miracle, but they do get the 2-point conversion, and if they recover this onside kick, I guess they really have a chance, but Utah is going to hold on to it, which makes the series tied up at 1-1. Well, if Utah's kicker can hit from here, it looks like this game 3 is going to be going on to overtime. Maybe not though, because with 15 seconds left, the Utes are only 15 yards out from the end zone, and it looks like instead of playing for overtime, they're going to be going for the win. Cam Rising takes the check down here, but he's not going to go anywhere, so it is going to end up going to overtime, and I cannot believe what I'm looking at right now. Noah Ruggles missed the extra point, so if Utah gets into the end zone, they're probably going to win, and they're just 5 yards away now. The wide receiver comes around on the sweep. He's going to stiff arm one guy, but Dalton Kincaid got brought down, so it's 3rd and 4. Cam Rising is going to step back. He's going to deliver to the back of the end zone, and nobody came up with it, so now it's 4th and 4. Are they going to be able to pick it up? Ohio State forces the stop, and somehow the Buckeyes win this game. That means Utah can't afford to drop this next one, but I guess they don't care because it's 4th and 10, and they're down by 14 with less than a minute and a half remaining. They are going to pick this up, but they have a lot of work to do, and I don't think it's possible to make a comeback at this point. Hang on, I might need to bite my tongue. They just had a huge pass, and if they can avoid wasting any of their 3 timeouts, they can still get the ball back as well. That pass probably should have been intercepted, but it wasn't, keeping Utah alive, and there's the interception. Cam Rising turns it over, and all of a sudden, Utah's down 3-1. They have to win 3 straight to win the finals, and it must not have been meant to be because they're just getting into the end zone. It looks like Ohio State is going to win the CFB finals, and they're going to do it in front of their home fans in Columbus. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like the video if you made it this far, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this playoff format.